We have 7 stories in total for you guys today. The first story is posted by you/uvokenweenie. Free trip to Disneyland. My friend met this girl online and moved her into the house, which she shared with her mom. A month later, the new girlfriend promised to get a job and help with bills. Months passed, and months turned into 4 years. She never worked, slept all day, and never contributed to bills. One day my friend's new girlfriend sends me a text explaining that she's planning a big Disneyland trip for her and my friend as a surprise for her birthday. She went on about wanting to give my friend the best day present. Explained that she had made reservations at a restaurant in the park but needed help. She wanted day donations to cover a hotel, food, souvenirs, spending money, and tickets to Disneyland, both parks. She took the initiative to calculate how much each of us would have to give her to cover expenses for their trip. $120 each. Explained she didn't have any money, which is why she needed that amount. This text was sent to several friends. I explained that I couldn't do that. Several days later, the girlfriend posted a Facebook rant about how she planned the perfect day for her and her gay fave, but ruined by cheap friends, and didn't understand why. No one would fulfill her request. Oh, and said we were bad friends. FYI, this happened several years ago, towards the end of their relationship. I remembered the incident when I ran into the ex this weekend. On to the second story written by you/Sophie1188. I refused to pay that amount, so I work at a pizza place in Canada and encountered this lovely lady earlier today. She called up and ordered a large pepperoni pizza. I told her the total, $15. Yeah, I know, but what can I do? And the following ensued. CB, no, I refuse to pay that amount for a pizza. Me, okay, well I'll cancel your order then. CB, I still want the pizza, and I am on my way to get it, but I am just informing you that I will not pay that amount. Me, well, that's the amount, and if you don't want to pay for it, then unfortunately I can't make it for you. CB, why not? I'll see you in 10 minutes, and then hangs up. So I stand there and wait for the lady to arrive, and when she does, and I inform her that I did not make her pizza, as I cannot just give food away, she starts screaming at me. I offered to make her a small one, which was within her budget, but that wasn't good enough. So she just stormed out. Just would love to know if she goes to restaurants, grocery stores, hair salons, anywhere, and is as rude, because lady, I could have put a coupon on it for you if you hadn't been so rude from the start. On to the third story shared by you/SoBreezy74. CB buys over $200 in groceries, asks stranger to pay for it at checkout. This was told to us by the stranger, who happens to be a friend of my mom from high school. Let's call stranger Ted. Ted is in line at the supermarket, behind CB, waiting for his turn. CB has a full large cart with imported items. We aren't in the US. And her total comes to a little over $200, so she goes into her wallet and is shocked she didn't have enough cash on her. The logical thing would be to either cancel the transaction or get only what you can afford, then proceed to do the walk of shame. CB looks over at Ted and goes, in English, "This is really embarrassing, but could you help me out? We can discuss me paying you back when you've finished checking out." Now, Ted recognized CB as an old classmate's ex-wife. She was known to be very mentally unstable, and though he would like to help, he refuses. CB goes on a rant how he was so selfish not to help a lady in need, and that he should be ashamed, and threw in a, "You have no idea who I am," in which Ted replied, "I know exactly who you are, CB. Tell me ... what lunatic fills their cart up at a supermarket without knowing how much money is in their wallet and has the gall to ask a stranger to pay for their $200 tab." CB continues to make a fuss to the point she is dragged out of the supermarket and even asked security, "Do I still get to keep my groceries?" They're already scanned. To think she's the daughter of a politician. Painful. TLDR, CB buys groceries, but can't afford them. Gets kicked out of the market, but still wanted her groceries. On to the fourth story shared by you/GodAbout13. Sure, you saved my life ... but who's paying for my car? I've been a fireman for years, and seen way too many dumb people, but thought I'd share one with you. Got called out to a motor vehicle accident. It was a rollover and the driver was trapped, unconscious, and seriously hurt. We had to use the jaws to cut her out of the car, then transported her to the hospital. A few weeks later, a woman walked into the station, demanding to speak to someone with authority. That would be me. When I asked if I could help her, she told me that she had been the driver of the vehicle, but I didn't have car insurance, and now the car is garbage, and I still owe on it. Who's going to pay for it? I told her that I was glad to see her walking around, and I was happy she's okay. Don't give me that crap. Who's paying for my car? Who told you you could cut my car to pieces? So I said that it was nice that she came all this way to thank us, and I'd be happy to pass it on to the guys who risked their life saving hers. Don't screw with me. That was an expensive car, and now it's garbage. I personally thought it was garbage after the first roll. I'll have you know that my sister's husband is the best lawyer in this town, so I gave her the address and phone number of City Hall, and luckily for me, the alarm went off and I had to go and cut someone's car apart so they could live. All without their permission. On to the 5th story shared by you/Grace. Amidst calamity, my son and I experienced a CV in the wild. So no pictures, although, in hindsight, it would have added to the story so you could get a full view of what I had to witness. So I'm in a pretty big grocery store, and they're notorious for never having enough lines open. Not Walmart, although. Good guess. And my son and I get behind this woman in a motorized cart. She's got a basket that filled to the brim, and she's slowly taking out one item at a time, very slowly, and grunting like she's having trouble. I tell my 8-year-old son to ask her if she could use his help to empty her basket, trying to teach him to help others. She agreed, and he quickly got everything out, but not before she told him exactly where on the belt to organize everything. While he's doing this, she cleans out her purse, full of garbage and receipts, doesn't even turn to look me in the face, but hands it back to me saying, "Would you find a place to throw this away?" I tell her no, and that once she gets closer to the cashier, they have trash cans behind their counter. She wads it all up and then slams it back in her purse. After my son is finished, she was kind enough to offer my son a candy bar for his work. I told her no, it's okay, he can do that kind of stuff without being given something. She tells him to pick something anyway, and I then allow it. She gets up to the cashier, and they know her by name. Oh. And there's even a woman on stand by helping to bag her groceries, according to the woman's demands. When she goes to pay, she says the exact amount on her card is $21.36. There isn't enough money on her food card for all the items she had packed into her cart. I feel bad for her, but not that much after her numerous bossy fits she's now had toward the cashiers. She has them backed up for over 20 minutes, while she says, "Oh, I thought I had enough. I thought I had enough," while she rocks back and forth like a crazy for added effect. All the other lanes were about 10 people deep, with full carts, and my stuff was now already on this belt. That's why I didn't move. Suddenly she stops her act, and turns and asks my son, "Do you live in this town?" He answers yes. Cue her waving her hand to fan herself, and loudly saying how it's so hot, and she's got to wait for the bus. And she asks me, "You wouldn't mind taking me home?" I sternly informed her that no, that will not be happening. She then tries to say she didn't know she was short on money, and if my son can return the candy bar. At that, the other cashier went to the next register, got her scanning gun, and proceeded to scan my items from the other belt. I ask while paying at the other register, I'm willing to give $20 toward her groceries to help, but only if this isn't something she does often. The cashier gives me that look like "please don't," and says this is her 3rd time in that week, and that people buy her groceries all the time. She's definitely not short on food. I thank the cashier, bag my own items, and my son, his candy bar, and I all leave from that hot mess. On the way out, the lady who couldn't get out of her cart to get her own groceries out is now standing telling the cashiers how I'm rude and inconsiderate. Great learning time for my son, since I told him helping someone is okay. You're not obligated to keep helping them if they're just using people. Onto the 6th story shared by you/Charian. Had a friend who wanted to borrow expensive equipment repeatedly and demanded I explain myself. When I said no, this happened 10 years ago, but still bothers me. When I was still at uni, I was pretty friendly with a guy. We weren't really close, more part of a very loose group. Still, he was nice enough, and when he asked me to borrow a video projector my dad owned for a special evening, I was glad to help. A year passes, and while we do still get along, I start to get a bit annoyed by his attitude. He always acted like he was doing me a favor by even talking to me, and had this tendency to have a bit of a snide undertone when he talked to me, as if I was always the butt of some joke. I tried not to let it bother me, because you can't always be on the same wavelength as everyone around you. And then he asked to borrow the projector again. Now at this point I should point that at the time, it was an expensive piece of equipment, and that was very fragile. In other words, the exact type of device you don't want to be moving around if you don't have to. Plus, the lamps it used had a very limited lifespan, and were also expensive to replace. And not only are those things difficult to reinstall, it really wasn't even supposed to be used for stuff like that, since my dad technically bought it for a professional organization he was a part of, so it would be tax deductible. On top of all that, I didn't care for the way he asked. Think, hey, we have one of those evenings again, so I want to borrow that projector again. No, it would be great if, or would you be willing to, or even a please. While he knew full well the thing wasn't even mine, I had to go to my dad and ask him as a favor. So, enough of this fair weather friend. I'm not bending the rules for him a second time. Still, I wanted to let him down easy, if I could, since it's always best to avoid harsh words if you can, and we had friends in common. Phone call almost verbatim. Me, sorry, I can't lend you that projector. CB, what? Why? Me, my dad doesn't want to. He bought it for organization, so technically, it's theirs, and they have to be able to use it, so yeah. CB, so how does that work? Me, what? CB, I mean, it's in your house. Me, CB, so how does that work? Do they, have keys to your house? And can they just, come into your house and just, take it? Voice just dripping with incredulity. Me, I don't know, man. I guess, if you believe you have some sort of right to the thing, I could pass you my dad, and you can explain to him why that's the case. CB, quickly realizing his situation. No, that's fine. So, thanks anyway, I guess. Even now, I can still hear him say, can they just, come into your house? With this explain yourself, punk tone in his voice, while asking for a favor. Luckily this is paired with the memory of suggesting he explain his entitlement to my dad. Onto the final story shared by you/street rat named Desire. I didn't realize that having candy was a requirement for every business. I'm seriously in shock right now that this happened. My office is by appointment only, so if I don't have a client scheduled, I keep the door locked. There are several counseling and law offices in our building, and the area has a homelessness problem, so I'd prefer people not wander in. A few minutes ago, a woman tugged on our door, trying to get in. It's not unusual for someone to try to come in to ask for directions, so I decided to finish up my business call and let her in. As I'm hanging up, she proceeds to tug and pull and knock and ring the doorbell repeatedly. That should have been warning enough. Me, hello. Sorry about the wait. What can I do for you? CB, what do y'all do? I gave her a brief explanation of our company. CB, oh, okay. Why do you got your door locked though? I give her a brief, professional explanation about how we are not able to take walk-in, and that oftentimes our employees are here alone, or in the back, so we keep it locked for safety reasons. CB, that's rude though. Me, it really is just a safety precaution. But I apologize. What can I help you with today? CB, yeah, let me get some candy out of that basket for my kids. She pointed at a basket I have that is full of raffle tickets for a contest we're holding. Me, oh, I'm sorry, there's actually no candy in there, just raffle tickets. CB, don't lie to me. I'm shocked and kind of freeze for a moment before grabbing the basket to show her that there's no candy in it. CB, why don't you have any candy? Me, I have in the past, but we go through it so fast that I can't afford to keep a basket full. This is true, we're in a low-income area, and people take fistfuls. CB, so what, are you cheap, or just broke? I just sort of awkwardly chuckled. CB, you think this is funny? You got a basket, people are gonna think it's candy. That's false advertising. Me, well, we're not really advertising. CB, I could see it through the window. It was on display. You put that up there, so I'd come in for candy. But it's not candy. That's false advertising, and one of these days, someone is going to take you to court. My personal policy is that, if anyone brings up legal action, I'm pretty much done with the conversation. Me, sorry about that. Was there anything else I could help you with today? CB, yeah, you can get me some candy for my kids. Me, I don't have any candy, sorry. Have a great day. CB, fine, give me some money for the vending machine. Me, I don't carry cash. CB, don't lie to me. Me, I'm not lying, and I'm going to have to ask you to leave. CB, Marin, screw you. Me, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. CB, screw you. It's Christmas, and you're gonna deprive my kids candy. At least have some damn candy canes. It's the ducking giving season. And what are you giving? No money, no candy. Screw you. I bet you'll have some candy when the Better Business Bureau comes after you. Me, okay, thank you. Take care. CB, screw you. Stuck up cheap mother ducker. You can look forward to my review on Yelp. She left after that, but not before having her kids flip me off once they were outside. Classy. FYI, for those of you think that I talked to her for too long or was too nice. Yeah, I work in a low-income area. I deal with crazy people often. I've learned that being nice and talking them through a situation works better than telling them to screw off. The way I was raised is to be polite, regardless of the situation. See, I have crippling anxiety, and being rude makes me shake like a leaf. That's it for today's video. See you guys in the next one.